Hi, my name is Frank Schaeffer. I grew up in an evangelical missionary household. After my dad, Francis Schaeffer, got famous, he, my mom, and then eventually me as his nepotistic teenage and young 20-something sidekick, got very famous in the evangelical community for helping to start what was called the religious right. And we built that movement on our opposition to abortion rights, feminism, gay rights, and all the rest of it. Fast forward 40 years to the election of Donald Trump, and I felt a great personal responsibility to try to warn people about the radicalizing process that evangelical Christians have been involved with now for the better part of 40 years, that my family played a part in. Long before anybody saw the storming of the Capitol coming, I was warning that evangelical support for Trump would lead to violence, that his cult would something rotten to the core. I predicted exactly the sort of thing that happened on January 6th. Now I am saying something completely different, and that it is time for us who supported Joe Biden, who support the Democrats, who have been fighting for democratic and progressive principles, to get behind an initiative for what I'll call real family values. You know, back in the 1970s and 80s, we sold fake family values. We talked about restoring the integrity of the family, women staying home with their children, all the litmus test of anti-gay rhetoric in terms of the homosexual agenda and all the rest of this. The fact of the matter is, the real anti-family values we have just seen in action with Trump, who gave tax cuts to billionaires and his cronies, with a Republican Party that never reaches out to help anybody except the people who fund their PACs and their election campaigns, with the Republican Party sliding into the anti-family Trump era of philandering and assaulting women and thinking this is okay as long as you're getting Supreme Court justices appointed who will be against abortion and so forth. Now is the time for progressives to stand up and reclaim the actual mantle of family values, as Joe Biden has just done with his massive initiative to help the poor, the working class, moms and dads, parents and children, and students, with the bill that he is going to sign on Friday, and probably by the time you watch this already has signed, passed in Congress and the Senate. Not one Republican voted for this family values bill. Think about that. Not one. A bill that helps moms and dads and children and parents and adoptive parents and schools and the poor and the middle class and the lower middle class get back on their feet after COVID-19. Not one Republican voted for this. This is a family values package. Now, what we have to do is take the next step and start talking about what real family values are. That the survival of the friendliest is what drives us in evolutionary historical terms, not the survival of the fittest. That reaching out in community is where we have our strength as human beings. The exact things that Jesus talked about in his parables and in his teaching in terms of being our brother's keeper. These are real family values. Now, the Democrats and progressives should not just say, we are for these things for economic purposes, but start to talk in moral terms, right and wrong, and take back the language of morality and religion and spirituality from the Republicans, who now have turned their backs completely on the teachings of Jesus Christ and on the simple idea of empathy and compassion. And what we need to do now is instead point to the fact that it is the Democratic Party and Joe Biden who represent the right versus the wrong, the way to reach out to people. Now, I've spent the last 5 years of my life working on a project that is now coming out as a book a long time from now, so I'm not pitching it now, in November of this year, 2021, on the real family values that evangelicals who are not completely sold out to the Trump cult, and to those people who have stuck with the program of what the real Christian teachings are, for young parents, for gay adoptive parents, and for others who are trying to start a new life post-COVID can turn to. And I would like you to follow that project with me over the next couple months as we talk about it, and eventually to use this new book to be able to reclaim what I'll call authentic values, authentic family values, authentic Christian values for the progressive movement. It doesn't belong to the Republicans. They've turned their back on it. Thank you. My name is Frank Schaeffer.